When you are born, you look like your parents, but when you die, you look like your decisions. I heard that not long ago, and it stayed with me because the older I get, the more I realize something uncomfortable. A lot of people never really leave the life they were handed. They grow older, they move out, they get jobs, but mentally, financially, they're still living inside the limits of their past. I've seen it in old friends, still blaming their parents for why they're behind, still explaining their lack of progress because there was no money growing up, because life was hard, because nobody showed them the way. And to be fair, some people did start with less. Some people had it harder. But here's the truth most people avoid. It is not your parents' job to build the life you want as an adult. At some point, responsibility changes hands. From that moment on, your future becomes a reflection of your habits, your standards, your decisions, and the people you keep around you, because your environment is not neutral. It is either pulling you forward or quietly holding you in place. And also, wanting more is not enough. Everyone wants more money. Everyone wants a better life. But desire without effort is just fantasy. You have to work, fail, start again, keep going, even when nothing seems to work. And one of the most important decisions you'll ever make in that process is choosing your friends wisely. If this helps you see things differently, subscribe. If it challenges you, even better. Let's get into it. Most people think their financial situation is just about income. It's not. Income matters, but environment often matters more, because you don't just earn money, you learn how to behave with it. And that behavior is shaped daily by the people around you. If everyone around you treats debt like something normal, you stop questioning it. If your friends joke about being broke while constantly spending, it starts to feel normal. If no one is building, saving, or improving, standing still starts to feel responsible. That's how standards are formed. Quietly, you don't notice it happening, you just adjust. You match the room you're in because humans don't like feeling out of place. So instead of challenging the group, we slowly become like them. And over time, that becomes identity. You become the person who avoids financial responsibility, the person who delays, the person who says, it's not that serious. And years go by, not because of one big mistake, but because of small behaviors, repeated daily. And if this still sounds abstract, let me show you what this looked like in real life. Now, I've saved something important because this is not theory. This is something that actually worked for me and for the few friends I chose to keep. The ones who also wanted more, the ones who stopped hiding behind excuses, the ones who were willing to leave the past behind and build something new. What I'm about to share is personal, but at this point, I think it matters because at some stage I had to make a decision, and it wasn't easy. I had to leave certain people behind, and I don't say that lightly, but if I had to choose again between staying comfortable with people who were not growing or choosing a better life for myself and the people I truly care about, I would make the same decision 1,000 times, because over time, the path becomes clearer. At the beginning, it feels like loss. Later, it feels like alignment. Now here's what changed everything. Me and a small group of friends made a deal. At the time, our goals were simple, maybe even a bit superficial. We wanted money, nice cars, nice houses, freedom, the kind of life that looks impressive from the outside. But deeper than that, we wanted to change our families' lives. So we built a structure. Every single day, we committed to 3 things. Build something that could generate income, take care of our physical and mental health, and read at least 10 pages. Focused on finance or personal growth. No exceptions. And here's where it became real. We had to prove it to each other. Every day, if one of us skipped even one task, even something small like a workout, we had to pay. Money aside, a penalty, not because of the money itself, but because it forced honesty. Missing a task meant admitting something uncomfortable, that you were not as committed as you said you were, and that changes how you see yourself. At the beginning, we failed a lot, more than we expected, but that was the point, because for the first time, we couldn't hide from our own inconsistency, and slowly, things changed. We became more disciplined, more focused, more aware of how we were spending our time. We held each other accountable, and over time, we built momentum. I'm not going to talk about numbers, that's not the point. What matters is this: every single one of us moved forward. Every single one of us improved. And the goals we once thought were big became stepping stones to bigger ones, because when you surround yourself with people who want the same things and are willing to work for them, progress stops being optional. It becomes expected. So maybe this works for you. Maybe it doesn't. But the principle is simple. Choose people who move. Choose people who act. Choose people who are willing to be uncomfortable in the direction of growth, because if you choose the wrong people, the probability is very high that you'll gain stress instead of progress, and that's a very expensive trade. Now think about the opposite environment, where excuses are normal, where everyone has a reason why things don't work. It sounds logical. I didn't grow up with money, nobody taught me, life was hard, and again, some of that is real, but repetition turns explanation into identity. You stop trying to change and start protecting your limitation. And if everyone around you speaks that way, you will too, not because you're weak, but because the brain adapts to what it hears most. And over time, your financial life becomes a reflection of those beliefs, not your potential, your environment. This is the uncomfortable part, because not all bad influence looks bad. Some of it looks like loyalty. These are people you've known for years. They're not toxic, they're not negative, but they are comfortable. And comfort can keep you stuck because you stop questioning things, you stop evolving, you stay in the same patterns with the same mindset, and slowly you become a smaller version of yourself, not because you wanted to, but because you stayed where growth was not required. Growth has a phase that feels isolating. You think differently, you act differently, you care about different things, and people notice. You've changed, you're too serious, but what they're reacting to is difference, and difference creates distance. So most people go back to feel accepted, but if you want a different life, you have to accept that not everyone will understand your path, at least not in the beginning. When you step into a better environment, everything shifts. People act differently, think differently, move differently, and suddenly, your old habits don't feel good anymore. Your excuses don't sound strong anymore. Your standards rise, not because you forced it, but because you saw what's possible. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. At the end of the day, your life is built on patterns. Who you spend time with, what you tolerate, what you accept as normal. That's what shapes your future. So choosing your friends wisely is not just social advice, it's financial strategy. Because your circle shapes your behavior shapes your money, and your money shapes your freedom. So choose carefully, because in the end, you may start life looking like your parents, but you will finish it looking like your decisions. If this made you reflect, good. That's where change starts, not with money, but with awareness. If this helped you, subscribe and comment one thing. What kind of people do you want around you 5 years from now? Because that answer might quietly shape everything.